and from whom alone cometh all counsel, wisdom, and understanding. We, thine unworthy servants here gathered together in thy name, do most humbly beseech thee to send down thy heavenly wisdom from above, to direct and guide us in all our consultations. And grant that we, having thy fear always before our eyes, and laying aside all private interests, prejudices, and partial affections, the result of all our counsels may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion and justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the king, the public weal, peace, and tranquility of the island, and the uniting and knitting together of the hearts of all persons and estates within the same, in true Christian love and charity, one towards another, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
You may be seated. This honorable house now resumes its sitting. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor to welcome everyone to the sitting of the House of Representatives today, Wednesday, November 8, 2023, for the continuation of our State of the Constituency debate. I would like to extend a special welcome to those who are joining us online via the various social media platforms, PBCJ live stream, and those who are seated here in the gallery. Call of the roll.
Mr. Clark, here. Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Holness, Dr. Clark, Dr. Chang, Ms. Grange, Mr. McKenzie, Mr. Chuck, Dr. Tufton, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Vaz, Mrs. Mallow Fort, Mr. Charles, Mr. Green, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Warmington, Mr. Warmington, Mr. Main, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Terry Long, Dr. Dunn, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Witter, Ms. Smith, Mr. Davis, Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown-Burke, Dr. Charles, Mr. Chin, Mr. Cousins, Ms. Crawford, Ms. Daly, Ms. Davis, Mr. Golding, Mr. Graham, Dr. Guy, Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Hannah, Mr. Henry Kitts, Mr. Henry, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Lawrence, Ms. Lee, Mr. Miller, Mr. Montague, Ms. Morrison, Mrs. Nita Garvey, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Phillips, Dr. Phillips, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Samuda, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Siblist, Mr. Slowly, Mrs. Vaz, Dr. Wheatley, Mr. Williams, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Wright.
Members, just a general reminder, there are some individuals who, for whatever reason, are absent from the House for an extended time. Please be advised that we will be checking the records so that the individual or individuals who so comply with having been absent from the Parliament over and above what is in keeping with our standing orders will appreciate you will be read out of the Parliament. So just for the benefit of any member listening, we are checking the records. House Leader, no, it does not apply to my friend.
Madam Speaker, today should not be a long session, so we would go in the order of the agenda, and at the end, we hope the constituency debate would continue and conclude at the end. So, with your permission, Madam Speaker. Statement.
Statement by Minister. We will now have Honorable Delroy Chop Casey, MP, Minister of Justice, on his feet, and House Leader.
Acting House Leader, Madam Speaker.
I know.
Madam Speaker, this is a short statement on a green paper on restorative justice. Madam Speaker, restorative justice has been one of the flagship programs of the Ministry of Justice since its inception. It has proven to be an effective tool for conflict resolution and the repair of broken relationships. Madam Speaker, today I am pleased to present to this Honourable House the Restorative Justice Policy Green Paper. The revision of the policy is geared towards enabling the continued relevance of the National Restorative Justice Program, the use of restorative justice practices, and sustainability for greater impact within the society. Madam Speaker, crime and violence have shown no partiality in the selection of victims. It knows no race, gender, age, community, or parish. Madam Speaker, this challenge is not a new emergence in our society. Sadly, over the last few days, we have seen evidence of this as a number of our children have been brutally murdered. This reinforces the need for greater interventions at the embryonic stage of community, of family, neighborhood, and community conflicts. Madam Speaker, it is my responsibility as the Minister of Justice to promote and expand a program that is not only timely, but also timeless. Restorative justice is a necessity and complementary to the efforts of the Ministry of National Security. The utilization of restorative justice continues to be a critical tool in the judicial space, contributing to case clearance in the courts. In the words of my RJT, Madam Speaker, crime prevention is everybody's business. Let us then give careful attention to the restorative justice program. Madam Speaker, restorative justice is a very valuable alternative justice tool. Numerous incidents of crime and violence arise from our inability to effectively resolve domestic disputes, including deadlift matters. There is a need to find better ways to resolve conflicts within our families, our schools, and our communities. Madam Speaker, restorative justice provides us with that better way. Indeed, Madam Speaker, the Administrator General's Department is on a campaign across the island now to get persons to just settle their deadlift matters and urging the persons make a will. Because when they don't make a will, Madam Speaker, families start to fight over everything. So if they make a will, it helps. But when they don't make a will, Madam Speaker, and they start to abuse one another, we still encourage them to go to the restorative justice centers. So, Madam Speaker, greater awareness, access, and use of both restorative justice and restorative justice practices are imperative. We need to change the mindset of our people. We need to get into their inner workings and minds so that they know not to fight it out, but talk it out. Madam Speaker, RJ is one of the many alternative justice resources available to teach our people that you don't have to use violence to resolve conflicts. Violence does not solve the problem. It increases the problem. Rounds of retaliation, gang violence, and reprisals. Jamaicans in every nook and cranny deserve to be afforded a safe space where they can sit and talk about what has happened, how they have been affected, who else might be affected, and what they would like to see happen in order to move forward peacefully. Jamaicans, Madam Speaker, deserve restorative justice. The truth, Madam Speaker, as I close, and to highlight a number of our programs, restorative justice has been a major success. And once it is used, there's a success. And the challenge of the Ministry of Justice is how do we get more parties where abuses and wrongs and crimes have been committed to really get into the program where they can get into a restorative justice circle and settle their matters. So, Madam Speaker, I can highlight the significant achievements of the RJ program, which, Madam Speaker, we hope will increase over the next 5 years. RJ has been a success rate, or has a success rate of approximately 80% for the matters referred to RJ by the courts, communities, schools, and police. There are 21 parish and RJ centers island-wide. These restorative and parish justice centers have been strategically spread across communities. The locations are standalone RJ centers, one in Tower Hill, Trenchtown, Augustown, Denhamtown, Tivoli Gardens, Spanish Town, Maypen, Pembroke Hall, and recently in member from Northern Clarendon, Bunkers Hill, which we will open shortly in Bunkers Hill. The Parish Justice Centers also offers restorative justice services, and they are in every parish of the island. Madam Speaker, we have a toll-free line, 888 Justice, or 888-587-8423, that the public can call for information on RJ and other social justice services at any time to assist in resolving conflicts. Over 200 restorative justice facilitators are available to help any member of the public, and they are situated right across the parishes. Madam Speaker, I cannot overemphasize the success of restorative justice as an important tool for conflict resolution and repairing relationships. Over the last 4 years, the Restorative Justice Program has facilitated 9,192 conferences, resulting in 7,580 agreements, lives repaired and restored. Madam Speaker, imagine the countless lives that have been saved by allowing people to peacefully resolve their conflicts. In addition, with over 74,949 Jamaicans benefited from sensitization sessions on restorative justice. Madam Speaker, our efforts have been cemented through training for both staff and facilitators, the widening of interventions, signing of memorandums of understanding with key stakeholders such as the Ministry of Education and youth and churches across Jamaica, to the most recent operationalization of the Social Justice Division, under which are housed the Restorative Justice Branch, Child Diversion Branch, the Victim Services Branch. All three branches have partnered to provide Jamaicans, including child offenders as young as 12 years old, with timely access to alternative dispute resolution services, as well as providing support to victims of crimes. Madam Speaker, the Green Paper is chock full of information. And I am recommending that every school, church, business, and other institution obtain a copy. We invite comments and feedback at the earliest possible time. A link to the green paper is available on the Ministry of Justice's website at moj.gov.jm and also on the Parliament's website at japarliament.gov.jm. Madam Speaker, I now commend this restorative justice policy tabled as a green paper to members of the House for approval as one of the many opportunities for promoting justice for peace and harmony. I say, Madam Speaker, that this green paper, we will be sending soft copies to every school, every church, every institution, because as we say, it is chock full, not chock full, chock full of information. And I urge all of the MPs to pass on a copy to their management team or a team to look at it. The real challenge is how do we get conflicting parties to come together and let a restorative justice facilitator help them to repair relations. And that is the real challenge as we move from the green paper to the white paper. What more can be done? It is helping communities, it's helping families, but with so much conflicts in our society, Madam Speaker, and where violence is being used to resolve these conflicts, we as a Parliament, we at the Ministry of Justice would like to help to reduce these conflicts. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, House Leader and Minister. Minister, would you be so kind as to turn off your mic?
Sure.
Announcements.
Laid on the table of the House today are copies of the annual report of the Office of Utilities Regulation for the financial year 2022-2023 and its related ministry paper numbered 102 of 2023. Report of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee on its deliberations on the proposal made by the Integrity Commission to increase the annual emoluments threshold and other matters. And the Integrity Commission Amendment of Third Schedule Regulations 2023 and its related resolution under the Integrity Commission Act.
Bills brought from the Senate, petitions, papers, reports from committees. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of the House a copy of the report of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee of the House of Representatives on its deliberations on the proposal made by the Integrity Commission to increase the annual emoluments threshold and other matters.
Thank you. Notices of motions given orally.
Madam Speaker, I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the House, I will move the following motion. Whereas the Standing Orders Committee is empowered by the Standing Order number 70 to consider from time to time and reporting on all matters relating to the standing orders as may be referred to it by the House. Be it resolved that a comprehensive review of the standing orders of the Honorable House of Representatives be undertaken, and be it resolved that the Standing Orders Committee of the House of Representatives conduct said review and reports its findings to this Honorable House. And be it further resolved that in conducting the review, the Standing Orders Committee adopt the work of the Standing Orders Committee of the previous House in respect of similar resolution and take its findings into account in formulating its recommendation to this Honorable House. Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take this motion.
Thank you, Member House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the House, I will move, be it resolved that the report of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee of the House of Representatives on its deliberations on the proposal made by the Integrity Commission to increase the annual emolument threshold and other matters, which was laid on the table of the House on the 8th day of November 2023, be adopted. Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take this motion. Madam Speaker, I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the House, I will move the following motion. Whereas Section 64(1)(b) of the Integrity Commission Act, hereinafter referred to as the Act, provides that the Commission may make regulations amending the form specified in the third schedule of the Act, and whereas Section 64(3) of the Act provides that regulations made under Section 64(1) of the Act shall be subject to affirmative resolution, and whereas on the 28th day of September 2023, the Commission made the Integrity Commission Amendment of Third Schedule Regulations 2023. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Honorable House as follows. 1. This resolution may be cited as the Integrity Commission Amendment of Third Schedule Regulations 2023 Resolution. 2. The Integrity Commission Amendment of Third Schedule Regulations 2023, which were laid on the table of the House on the 8th day of November 2023, are affirmed. Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take this motion.
Thank you, House Leader. Questions and answers to questions? Motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice? Motions relating to the sitting of the House? Motions for leave to introduce bills? Presentation of bills without leave of the House first obtained. Public business. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, we will take these motions that were tabled in the House, and at the end, we will continue with the constituency debate. So I will begin, Madam Speaker, by move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier. This is the one in relation to the report of the Integrity Commission, the increase in the threshold.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, I ask the next matter, Madam Speaker, is in relation to the regulations, integrity regulations amendment, which has been circulated. So, Madam Speaker, I now move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, I now ask that the motion be approved. Yes.
Minister, please be reminded you didn't ask for the first one to be approved.
I will do both now, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
So in relation to the report.
So let's do them one at a time, Minister.
In relation to the report, Madam Speaker, I now ask that the motion be, or the report be adopted.
Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The report is adopted. Minister.
In relation to the regulations, Madam Speaker, I now ask that the motion be approved.
Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Member Sibley's.
Madam Speaker, I now move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier.
Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, we have been experiencing a number of debates that suggest, Madam Speaker, that our standing orders do need to review. Madam Speaker, the former Speaker had, on several occasions, made the recommendation. But, Madam Speaker, I think it is timely, in light of the discourse that happened yesterday, that we move seriously to have the standing order review comprehensively. Madam Speaker, this does not absolve, though, our reading of the standing order and understanding of the standing order, because I find, Madam Speaker, in a number of occasions, the discourse happens because we do not read the standing order. And we need to ensure, as members, all of us as members, to read the standing order and to be very much acquainted with it. But notwithstanding that, Madam Speaker, we think it is at a right time for us to do a comprehensive review of the standing order. And Madam Speaker, I invite at this time any other members who wish to speak on the matter.
No other member? I will say I'm in total agreement, as you are well aware, House. It is critical, not just that everyone reads the standing orders. They are not so easy to remember, and you have to continuously read, and you have to, it is his words, and that is not appropriate. He spoke from his head. The standing orders which govern our proceedings are no joke. They are so serious because they are literally the laws, the rules that bind, that guides this House in every single proceeding. And it would be good for members of the House to pay attention to and improve the standing orders, because it also can be used to give directions to the Speaker or presiding officer in the case of the Senate. So members, I appreciate this motion being moved today. And Member Sibley's, since the House is of one accord, you may continue and proceed with closing in asking for the approval of the motion.
Madam Speaker, you know, I recognize that sometimes we are not appreciative of each other in this House, but I will not go any further on it because sometimes we don't know that we don't know. And I will move further to just at this moment, Madam Speaker, ask that the motion be approved.
The question is that the motion now be approved. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. House Leader?
It is now proposed to continue the state of the constituency debate. And today we have the Speaker from South St. James, Minister Homer Davis.
Members, we will now have to his feet Member Honorable Homer Davis, CDMP, Minister of State in the office of the Prime Minister and the Member of Parliament for St. James Southern. House, give him your welcome.
I want to get the attention of the speaker. No, I'm going to ask permission. Yes, thank you.
I notice the minister is very skillful in ensuring he doesn't begin his presentation before we are absolutely ready, so he has his entire 30 minutes.
And I need, Madam Speaker, to have your full attention.
Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker.
Members, welcome.
Madam Speaker, I ask permission to speak from a seat which is not mine.
Permission granted.
Madam Speaker, let me first use this occasion to congratulate you on your elevation to your position as Speaker of this Honorable. I must also congratulate my friend, Deputy Speaker, Member of Parliament for St. James Central, Mr. Hero Clark. Madam Speaker, I have a prepared speech, but I cannot commence my presentation without speaking on the brutal murder of those two children in Salt Spring on Monday afternoon. Madam Speaker, it is an area that I'm very much acquainted with. But Madam Speaker, it hurt me. And I can say to you, it hurt the people of St. James and by extension, Jamaica. But Madam Speaker, and these are my position, I think we are playing around with criminality in Jamaica for far too long. Madam Speaker, I heard you spoke yesterday and you supported the death penalty. 100%. But Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister, on the recommendation of the Army and the police, have declared a state of emergency for the parish of St. James. Madam Speaker, I will go this far to say that the people of the parish of St. James, we don't have a problem with states of emergency. Madam Speaker, I remember when I was at another place in 2018 when the murder rate skyrocketed to 343 murders that were committed in the parish of St. James. A state of emergency was declared, I think it was about February of 2019. And in that year alone, Madam Speaker, we saw a reduction over the previous year of over 200 murders in the parish. Madam Speaker, I, for one, think that the state of public emergency have a place to play in crime fighting in Jamaica. Madam Speaker, as a member of parliament for a constituency that has seen murders, rampant murders, I know what it is. I know what the citizens are feeling. And I said, the people of St. James is not fearful of a state of emergency. What they are fearful of is the criminal who are roaming their community and committing murder and mayhem at will. Madam Speaker, I'm very passionate about crime in Jamaica. I'm very passionate about the behavior of persons with artless intention, criminal intention. And Madam Speaker, I'm going to use a term. I think it is full time, Madam Speaker, for us as a people to drain the swamp of these criminals that are holding community to hostage. Madam Speaker, we cannot sit by and allow our beautiful country, where over 4 million visitors visit us on a yearly basis and growing. And when you ask them why they come to Jamaica, they will say to you, if there's a paradise on earth, Jamaica is one such place. And so, Madam Speaker, I'm sure that I can speak to my other 4 colleagues of St. James. We fully support the state of emergency that was declared this morning in the parish of St. James. Madam Speaker, it is with great honor and privilege that I rise for the 3rd year as a proud member of Parliament for the constituency of St. James Southern. Today, as I reflect on the goodness of God, I refer to 1 Chronicles, chapter 16, verses 34. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Madam Speaker, I ask you to indulge me for a minute as I pay tribute to the constituents of St. James Southern, who have remained in my corner, giving me unwavering support for the plans and programs which have been making a difference in Southern St. James. Today I want to say to my constituents that my commitment and my loyalty to them is as strong as it was on September 3rd, 2020. When they gave me a mandate, when they voted overwhelmingly for me to be their member of Parliament. Madam Speaker, they are indeed the wind beneath my wings. Madam Speaker, I am indebted to my constituents, and as such, it is only fitting that I provide them with an update on my stewardship of the constituency. Madam Speaker, it was Vince Lombardi who once said, "Great leaders are made, they were not born." I pause to pay tribute to a great Jamaican leader, our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, who continued to repose great confidence in me as a Member of Parliament for St. James Southern and as the Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with oversight responsibility for Western parishes and special emphasis on major government projects. Honorable Prime Minister, I want to say thank you for your astute leadership and to let you know that you, as our leader and Prime Minister, Jamaica's future remain in great hands. So far, Madam Speaker, I can report that following the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the Montego Bay Perimeter Road in July 2022, the physical work has commenced. And that the Long Hill Bypass will commence soon. I have the opportunity, along with the Permanent Secretary, to do a physical tour, and I can tell you, it is moving ahead apace. Madam Speaker, those two road projects will impact St. James and Western Jamaica in a major way, providing jobs, and more jobs, and delivering to the commuting public a top-class roadway which will result in ease of passage. It will open opportunities for housing, small and medium commercial activities, and the farming communities. Madam Speaker, I'll speak on education and training programs. Madam Speaker, there's no question about my passion for educating and empowering future generations. I am extremely happy to embrace this opportunity to help in building of productive minds as I play my part in helping to shape the future leaders of Jamaica, land we love. In St. James Southern, we have been investing heavily in education because, like Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. In this regard, I have implemented annual educational support programs for all educational levels. And I dare say these programs have been embraced and replicated by others because of the value they bring to the students and the education sector. Madam Speaker, I speak to my two signature educational programs, the St. James Southern High Achievers Award, funded in partnership from the private sector, the business community, and the Constituency Development Fund, which seek to award students who were proficient in their PEP exams. This year's event was held on August 17th, 2023, with 123 students being awarded cash and gift voucher valuing $25,000 each. In addition to that, Madam Speaker, the top 3 PEP students received laptops valued at a little over $200,000. The next time. This event, Madam Speaker, and you were there at one point as our guest speaker, it cost over $3 million. These awardees, Madam Speaker, were selected from the 14 primary schools and the 1 private primary school located in the constituency of Southern St. James. And Madam Speaker, it was an honor for me to have as our guest speaker our Minister of Education, Minister Fabon Williams. And I can tell you, every day I open the newspaper, her pictures are all over the place. And she can attest to it, that it was indeed a function that is worth emulating by my other colleagues. At this time, I pause to express heartfelt gratitude to the sponsors of this event. Thank you for your belief in this program, and thank you for your continued support as we continue to play our part in boosting the education of the great constituency of St. James Southern. Madam Speaker, the second educational initiative is the St. James Southern Tuition Bursary, which was held on the 23rd of September, where we gave bursary assistance to some 49 students from the constituency, valued at over $2.6 million, funded by the Constituency Development Fund. Madam Speaker, I am immensely proud to report today that I continue to make provision through the education component of my Constituency Development Fund. And for that, this current year, some $6.5 million, plus an additional $3 million from the Ministry of Finance. And I extend gratitude to our Finance Minister for the kind gesture, as it has truly helped to boost our educational program in Southern St. James. But, Madam Speaker, in addition to book vouchers, notebooks, bags, and other school supplies, we distributed to over 1,500 students at pop-up back-to-school treats, which were hosted in several sections of the constituency, which made it much easier for their parents to send them back to school at the start of September 2023. Madam Speaker, in total, we were able to reach out to some 2,500 students, whether it be book voucher, other school assistance. And Madam Speaker, I'm happy to report that the total cost of this year back-to-school activities came in at $14.5 million. Madam Speaker, since the announcement made by the Most Honorable Prime Minister about the offering of tuition-free training by our NSTA Trust up to level 4, my team and I have gone out in the hills and valleys of St. James Southern, in every nook and cranny, every crevice and corner, to identify interested persons and get them pre-registered for tuition-free training with art. We were able, Madam Speaker, to pre-register over 400 members of the constituency from various age groups to be trained and certified in various disciplines offered by Art NSTA. Madam Speaker, I am very happy to report that following our pre-registration process, Art NSTA Trust went in along with us, and from the over 400 pre-registered persons, they have interviewed and registered over 235 such persons to commence training in the various disciplines that they are qualified for. Interview was done in Cambridge, Mount Carey, Moko, and Maroontown. Madam Speaker, it didn't stop there, because the government recently announced LIFT program. We have submitted 8 applicants, and all are currently enrolled and being trained. Madam Speaker, last year in my State of Constituency presentation, I highlighted that the Universal Service Fund would have commenced the installation of equipment for the community access point, better known as free Wi-Fi, within various sections of communities across St. James Southern. Today, I stand proudly to report that 2 additional access point hotspots were installed and commissioned in Mall Road in Mount Carey and Maroon Town Square, making that 3 for my constituency so far. Madam Speaker, Southern St. James is connecting on the technological highway. Road rehabilitation. Madam Speaker, as I have said before in this Parliament, when I assumed political leadership of St. James Southern, I inherited the worst road network in Western Jamaica. On assuming leadership for the constituency, I made a commitment that I will make presentation for the improvement of the road network. And today, Madam Speaker, the constituents will tell you that what did not happen in 31 years and 7 months under previous Member of Parliament, they are now seeing a difference in the upgrading of the road network in St. James Southern. I must extend commendation to the government with regards to the periodical allocations to offset cost of road rehabilitation in my constituency. Madam Speaker, the $40 million allocation received, works were carried out on the following roadway: Mocha to Garlands, Point to Tangle River to Flamstead Garden, Spring Garden in Welcome Hall, Cambridge to Duckett's Road, Shortwood to Retrieve, Mount Pelier to Cambridge. And Madam Speaker, there are many, many more projects to be implemented soon. The following roads will be rehabilitated in short order: Springfield to Mount Oreb via Barnet Bush, Cottage Road leading to the Springfield Primary School, and the Anchovy to Mount Oreb via Roehampton and Mafuta. Hampton Road to Point, Maroon Town to Flamstead Garden, Flamstead Garden to Garlands, Marchmont Road to Catadupa. In addition, Madam Speaker, the construction of a retaining wall in Garlands will commence soon. It is now at procurement. Also at procurement is the road leading from Marchmont Road to Washfoot Gully and the Leety Main Road. All these 3 projects are expected to start soon. Madam Speaker, we have just concluded, or we have just finished rehabilitation work on the Lapland Road up in Catadupa, and many more roads is to come on stream very soon. Additionally, Madam Speaker, and this I must commend the Carib Cement Company for the construction of a concrete road is now currently on the way in the community of Copperwood, and when completed, the citizens will have a better traveling service. I must say a big thanks on behalf of the citizens of Copperwood for this great initiative by Carib Cement Company. Madam Speaker, I must say again, thanks to our Prime Minister and our hard-working Minister with responsibility for works, Minister Warmington, for the timely allocation of funds to offset the cost of drain cleaning and other preparatory works in preparation for the yearly hurricane season. As part of major drain cleaning program in St. James Southern, drains were cleaned along the following corridors: Marchmont to Washfoot Gully and Stonehenge, Mocha to Sweetwater, Springfield to Barnet Bush, new roads in Cambridge. Madam Speaker, the $2 million dengue mitigation program will commence soon, and this will entail drain cleaning program in all 4 divisions, as well as the removal of bulky waste. Madam Speaker, I'll speak on agriculture. I will continue to advocate for the rehabilitation of farm roads in my constituency. The farmers have for many years suffered at the hands of bad roads, which, as their Member of Parliament, I am now moving to address with funds made available through the yearly Farm Work Rehabilitation Program. I am happy to report that in the last year, rehabilitation work was done on the Plum Road, John Common Road, in Stonehenge and Garlands Road, allowing the hard-working farmers better roads to attend to their farms and to take their produce to market. Madam Speaker, it was just last Thursday, a team and I from RADA toured a section of Zambia Farm Road in Flagstaff, Maroontown, and rehabilitation work should commence soon. Madam Speaker, I am full of humility and grace, having listened to the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness speak of his plans for development of agriculture in St. James Southern at my recently held constituency conference. The Prime Minister has announced the development of our agricultural sector in St. James Southern. Could not come at a better time, a time when our farmers have been resolute and resilient in playing their part in protecting Jamaica's food security. The announcement, Madam Speaker, to have St. James Southern converted into a thriving agricultural zone as part of an effort to generate economic prosperity for the residents of those farming communities is music to my ears and to the ears of the farmers. Madam Speaker, as part of my presentation last year, I highlighted that St. James Southern is the largest constituency in the parish, and it is a known fact that there are thousands of hectares of arable lands are idle, even as the Ministry of Agriculture pushes towards food security for Jamaica. I continue to echo the sentiment that St. James Southern remains the breadbasket constituency for the parish of St. James. And I want to inform our Minister of Agriculture that my team and I are ready to sit with you and your team in a broad-based discussion on how we will, as a team, transform the area under a development plan that will focus on agriculture. Madam Speaker, I continue to extend assistance to our farmers through the distribution of fertilizers, broiler chicken, and broiler feed, farming tool equipment, water tanks, and other farming supplies, as well as trucking of water to assist farmers during drought. Water supply. Madam Speaker, St. James Southern is not short of water, as there are several water sources in the constituency, some of which remains untapped. However, the constituency is affected by the lack of proper infrastructural development of water supply system. Several of this water system, Madam Speaker, has been in existence for over 30 to 40 years. And if the truth be told, most of them outlived their usefulness. This system has fallen into a state of disrepair and resulted in the citizens not having reliable supply of potable water due to major underground leaks and defective pumps. Madam Speaker, I can inform this House that tomorrow, Senator Matthew Sabuda, Minister with responsibility for water, and I will be touring a number of these water projects. We'll be touring Cambridge, Endeavour, Tangle River, as we work together to get these water supply systems back on stream. Madam Speaker, this one makes me feel very happy. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund has informed me recently that the long-awaited water infrastructure project, which will see the improvement of access to water supply system from Shetwood Spring leading into Anchovy. On completion of this project, Madam Speaker, the water hose will be a thing of the past in the communities of Mount Pelia, Mount Carey, Anchovy, Comportal, Lawson, and Roehampton. Madam Speaker, this project is expected to start before the end of this budget year. Madam Speaker, the cost of this project is $657,833,924.81. Madam Speaker, it is a massive project. I have always been an advocate for rainwater harvesting. And again, Prime Minister, your endorsement of rainwater harvesting as a means to improve water situation in St. James, Southern, and other parts of Jamaica in light of climate change is something that I wholeheartedly welcome, and I want to encourage my constituents to take the necessary steps to start this practice. Welfare program, it is an ongoing program, and so far we have reached out to over 100 of our constituents, whether in the filling of prescription, assistance in paying medical expenses, assistance in burial, assistance in housing grant. I must extend gratitude to both the current and the former Minister of Labor and Social Security for the provision made through their ministry. Through their ministry for the short-term poverty alleviation program. Housing, Madam Speaker. The issue of affordable housing for some of our most vulnerable constituents continues to be a challenge. And in that regard, we welcome the HOPE new housing program. Again, I must offer special commendation to the Most Honorable Prime Minister for the implementation of this new social housing program, which was developed to improve the housing condition of the country's poor and disadvantaged population.
House Leader, the member's time for speaking has expired.
Can I get the date?
Those days are gone, Minister.
Madam Speaker, may
days
I
are gone.
ask the House to approve an additional 10 minutes for a member to complete his presentation?
Member, because you spoke on a critical national issue, you are being asked, or it's being asked on your behalf to give you an additional 10 minutes. I want to make it absolutely clear that the requirement to stick to your time limit is going to be a critical function of this Parliament going forward. Members, the question is that Member Davis be afforded 10 additional minutes to complete his presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against?
Thank
The
you,
ayes have
thank
it.
you, thank you, thank you, members. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the issue that we are having, and I'm sure other members of Parliament are having the same issue, is the criterion of land ownership. And that is a challenge for us. But so far, Madam Speaker, we have gotten confirmation of 2 houses to be built in short order, and we have another 5 to be signed off on. In addition, Madam Speaker, the National Land Agency and the Housing Agency of Jamaica, I am appealing to them to move with alacrity and distribute titles for the occupiers of these lands in Copperwood and Red Ground, many of whom want to use their land asset to improve their lives, but without title. Madam Speaker, healthcare and healthcare facilities. Madam Speaker, I stand proudly to announce the completion of the rehabilitation and expansion work of Cambridge Health Centre to the tune of some $60 million under the Compassionate Care Program. The newly refurbished facility now boasts a fully air-conditioned building, a larger waiting area, new pharmacy, dental clinic, enhanced customer service, parking facilities, and a new sewage system. I must extend gratitude to our Minister of Health, the Honorable Christopher Tufton, members of the Western Regional Health Authority, and other stakeholders. Madam Speaker, rehabilitation work has commenced on the Catadupa Clinic, and I can inform you, or inform this Honorable House, that it is well advanced. And very soon, work will commence on the Roehampton Clinic. Madam Speaker, culture. Southern St. James, specifically the community of Catadupa, is the birthplace of our national hero, the Right Excellent Samuel Sharp. Kensington in Southern St. James is where the Christmas Rebellion has started, leading to the abolition of slavery. Flagstaff, Madam Speaker, in Maroon Town was the site of the Maroon War with the British. In commemoration of these historic events, we have on a yearly basis staged the Flagstaff Emancipation Day celebration and the Sam Sharp Flames of Freedom series of events in December, and with the 27th of December being observed as Sam Sharp Day. Madam Speaker, I speak on security. I am pleased to report that the constituency of St. James Southern has seen a reduction in the homicide rate and shooting. I must commend the police officers at the Anchovy Police Station, Cambridge Police Station, and Maroontown Police Station for their tireless effort in keeping at bay persons who are hell-bent on committing crime. Madam Speaker, the victims must be taken into consideration when someone is found guilty of a serious crime and is to be sentenced, because the families of the victims will have to live knowing that their loved ones were taken away in a very brutal and inhumane manner. Attention is always on the accused. Always on the accused. In other jurisdictions, the families of the victim has a role to play in their sentence. Madam Speaker, this government has been expending large amount of resources on our security forces, whether it is in the form of the construction of new police stations, the renovation of existing police stations, purchasing of new police vehicles, purchase of more sophisticated apparatus for crime fighting, and more advanced training for our policemen and women, or in crime detection and investigation or regular policing. Yes. Madam Speaker, with the new compensation package, I am sure that members of the security forces are in a better position to plan for themselves and their family. Madam Speaker, I am happy to report that the construction of the Anchovy Police Station is moving apace, and I am eagerly anticipating the official opening on or before independence of 2024. I would still like to see, as I proposed some time ago, Madam Speaker, that the teacher's cottage in Niagara to be retrofitted and used as a police post in that area, as the nearest police station is some 15 miles away. Madam Speaker, concluding, Madam Speaker, we're on a mission to improve the standard of living for all the citizens of St. James Southern. But, Madam Speaker, allow me to express thanks to members of my constituency executive, and my management team, some of whom are in the gallery. To my two sitting councillors, Councillor Everest Cope of the Maroon Town Division and Councillor Gregory Wint of the Welcome Hall Division, as well as my two councillor caretakers, Clifford, well, there will be councillor at the end of the next local government election. Councillor in waiting, Clifford Bernard, for the Catadupa Division, and Councillor in waiting, Javin Baker of the Cambridge Division. And that is the division that I spent 13 years as a councillor. So I'm sure that we will retain that division. To the staff of both my constituency office, because the constituency is so huge that I have two constituency offices, one in Maroon Town and one in Anchovy. I say thank you to my team at the Office of the Prime Minister, Western Region, some of whom are here, to my driver, Mr. Desmond Chin, and my close protection officer, Corporal Gary Mills. Madam Speaker, lastly, but there's a saying that you save the best wine for the last. To my lovely wife, yes, Dr. Caroline Grant Davis, and my many children, I say thank you for your continued support and understanding, and for allowing me the necessary time and space to attend to the demands of my constituency and that of my government. Madam Speaker, the best is yet to come for St. James Southern. I am focused. I am committed. I am up to the task. I am not daunted. And I am sure that my team and I will attain most, if not all, our projects in the coming years as we build a stronger and more resilient constituency. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and God bless you all, and God bless Jamaica land.
Beautiful presentation.
Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate the member from Southern St. James for an excellent presentation in the continuation of the State of the Constituency debate. I am sure his constituents would be very happy on his report and the projections for the next term. Madam Speaker, I ask for a recommitment of the item announcements.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Announcements?
Also laid on the table of the House today are one green paper number 4 of 2023 entitled Restorative Justice Policy, promoting restorative justice to resolve conflicts and grievances, and 2 ministry paper number 103 of 2023 entitled The Revised Restorative Justice Policy.
Madam Speaker, it's not proposed to do any further business today, so I now move the House to be adjourned until next Tuesday, the 14th of November at 2 p.m.
The question is that the House do now adjourn for November 14, 2023 at 2 p.m. sharp. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. This Honorable House now stands adjourned.